Hi guys, Coach Abby back at it again with another trainer tip here on Thursday, and today we're talking about knee mobility and strengthening. So the first thing you need to know with mobility is that on our skeleton we have mobile joints and then we have fixed joints, and they tend to alternate. So our very first week we talked about our ankle mobility, and that is a very mobile joint. There's lots of movement coming from it. Okay, last week we talked about our hip mobility. Again, that is a very mobile joint. Between our ankle and our hip, we have our knee, and while it is movable, okay, it is fixed between our hip and our ankle. So there's not going to be as much mobility as you would find in some of those other joints. So with that being said, we're going to focus mostly on strengthening, which would include strengthening the muscles of our quadriceps, our hamstrings on the back side of our leg, and then making sure that we have adequate glute activation from behind. So first thing we're going to start with are some step downs, and you could do this at home so that you have something to place your hand on if it's a railing, or you could do something on a wall where you have a little bit of stability here. So what I'm going to do, I've got about a 6-inch box right here. I'm going to start, and what we're focusing on here is making sure that we stay nice and balanced, tapping that bottom heel down. I can feel my glute activating and then pushing back up. Right now I can feel all three of those muscle groups, my quads, my hamstrings, and my glutes, working to activate this leg. A little bit of balance, making sure that I can do both sides here. You'll notice that I'm not putting full weight onto this bottom leg. I'm simply touching the ground and then using this top leg to drive through those muscles. Another exercise here that can be done from a floor position on the ground or a seated position up against a wall, back is nice and flat here, is quadricep activation. So what I'm going to do here, I'm nice and tall, and I'm going to use this quad muscle on top of my thigh, squeeze and lift that leg. I can alternate, squeeze, lift that leg. This is way harder than it looks. Very humbling in the quadricep region. The longer you hold, the more shake you're gonna get. Notice that my feet here are toes up. This can also be done from a floor position, where I'm just activating quads. Same thing on the other side. You're gonna get less out of this floor position because you do have other levers pushing against the ground, whereas as you are seated, you're just strictly using that quadricep muscle. Another thing that we can do to activate the glutes and those hamstrings are going to be bridges. So our classic glute bridge here, we are down, feet in the ground, on our back. We're driving our foot, okay, through the ground, squeezing our glutes, lighting up those hamstrings in the back. You want to try not to use shoulders, elbows, hands to push. That is coming all from those legs. Do a classic bridge. You can do a bridge hold. You could also start to do single leg bridge as well. Want to make sure when you're doing this that you are feeling your whole foot push through that ground. If you need to, you can even isolate towards that back side of that foot, just to make sure that that toe is not doing the work and you're the front side of that leg. We have some band exercises that we can do. These, again, we talked about last week because they're associated with those glutes that help with the hip as well. However, if you do not have glute activation, there's going to be a lot of exercises that you will not be able to be successful with because of your knee. So some of those include lateral band walks here. You can go side to side, or you can walk in one direction and back. Another exercise would be a reverse slide here. I can do this with a band. I could also do this on a hardwood floor in my socks. Could also do this on carpet with sliders or with a paper plate, something that moves easily on that surface. So I'm activating those glute muscles, which again are going to keep everything in line and activated when I'm doing things such as lunges, squats, step-ups. All right, next up we have a wall slide or a wall squat, similar to a wall sit, only we are going to slide down the wall. So I can do this with a stability ball. I can do this with a foam roller. I could also just do this with my shirt sliding down the wall just as easily. So here I'm going to start in this position, feet shoulder width apart, about almost 1.5 foot length off the wall to measure. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to sink, starting to feel those glutes and hamstrings. My hands are off the wall here. I can hold for a wall sit. I can hold for 5 seconds. And then what I want to do is I want to drive through my glutes here, activate my glutes, and push back up to that standing position. So I'm here, sliding down the wall, activate those glutes. I got down to 90 here, no hands, and up. One thing that we can do to check and also to strengthen those muscles is going to be a bear squat. So if I get down into my bear plank position here, all right, I can tuck back and find a high plank position. Squat down and back, and then into that high plank position here. Essentially what I'm doing is a full squat, using some core to go through that movement. All right, that's all for today. Next week, we're gonna be talking about thoracic mobility. We've got a lot to cover next week. We're excited about it, but we will see you soon.